Bum 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 bim bum 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 da 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 ztz'l nafshi beruchi v'nishmasi usvilasi min achitzaynim ztz'l nafshi beruchi v'nishmasi usvilasi min achitzaynim Besatzilem kenesh Yair kinov Al goizalam Yedachem Besatzilem kenesh Yair kinov Al goizalam Da 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 bum 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 bim bum bim da 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 do 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 Shukran everyone for coming. We're going to continue to learn L'Refuas Ayeled Yakir Ephraim ben Rachel Dvorah. Should continue to get stronger and stronger. Bezrat Hashem. So every year when it comes to Sefira, there's always, you could just talk about Sefirat omer all week long, all omer long. But you love it. It's great when you wait till Parshas Emor, our Parsha of the week, where the mitzvah of Sefirat omer shows up. Because then it's really, like Chazal always teach us, when you learn about something and it's in the Parsha, even if it's not in the time of what it's happening. For instance, like this Shabbos in Emor, we learn about a lot of different things, right? Also, Parshas Pinchas, you learn about all the Moadim. So, but even though that doesn't happen at the time of Parashat Pinchas, the Kedusha of what you're reading about also mitnotzetz ba'avir. So too, when it comes to the Parasha of Emor, how much more so is that true when in Emor, which is our Parsha, you actually receive the mitzvah of sefirat omer, which is in this Parsha. So I saw on this, there's a new Rav Biederman Sefer out on just on Sefira and Lag BaOmer. I picked it up yesterday, and I knew that I was waiting for this. You saw this? Chizki, you saw this? Unbelievable. So I opened it up. I was so hungry to get a word in before Shir, and I saw something beautiful where he says that when it comes to the minyan ha-mitzvot, the counting of the mitzvahs, that the mitzvah of sefirat omer, how many mitzvot are there bichlal? 613, nachon? Taryag, 613 mitzvahs. So he says something amazing. This mitzvah is number 307. What's that? Exactly. Meaning there's 306 before and there's 306 after. The mitzvah of Sefirat omer is holding up the body of the world of mitzvot on a certain level. It's beautiful. Like he's saying over here, he brought the mashal of, someone that wants to build a building and he wants to mechazek the building that he erected. So where would you go and try to, I feel weird saying this in front of a builder, but on a certain level, where would it be? It would be you'd strengthen it in the middle of the binyan. So there's something about sefirat omer that's not just like between Pesach and Shavuot. It's not just about that. And it's not just about the Korban Omer. It's something that has to do with our relationship with all mitzvahs, with all of the Torah. So I was playing around with a piece from Reb Shlomo that I learned some of it with the Israeli Chevra last year. I don't remember the last time where we learned this in English, if we did, but even if we did see this once in the past, this is a beautiful, and it's all in English tonight. There's no Hebrew, just English reading from here. This is just so gewalt. It's so beautiful. So we're going to see, I think, through understanding the mitzvah of the Omer through tonight's teaching, perhaps why it really is the middle mitzvah. Like why is this the middle mitzvah of the whole minyana mitzvot of the 613 mitzvahs? So hopefully we'll get to something really strong, Be'ezrat Hashem. What would you like then? Okay. Right. Okay, Yofi. So this is from Reb Shlomo. This is a really, really special piece over here. So listen up, this is really good. Everyone knows that throughout the 7 weeks of the Omer, I'm working on building a vessel for that light which was shining down on me Seder night. That's, we know, Mashu Gadol, something so big happened that night. And Hashem Kivyachol took it away from me after Seder night. And then He wants me to reach that same level of revelation, b'kochos atzmi, in my own kochot. I have to do it on my own. What was the light which was shining down on me so bright on Pesach? In other words, what is the vessel I'm trying to build during sefirat omer? Like, I have a friend who, we laugh at the fact that if you ask somebody, did you count, did you prepare for the Torah, receiving the Torah? So they'll answer you based on, yes, I didn't miss Sefira. So that's very nice that you didn't miss sefirat omer, but it's got to be more than just making sure that you counted every night with the bracha to prepare you for receiving the Torah. That can't be a person who feels he's ready to receive the Torah because he didn't miss a night without a bracha. It's got to be so much more than that, correct? Can't be. However, usually, if someone would ask you, how do you describe to me your preparation for the Torah? I didn't miss one. Every night with the bracha. Come on. It's got to be so much deeper than that. So what are we building? What are we trying to do? So matzah, Reb Shlomo says, is called lechem oni, the bread of the poor man. And what does a poor man think? A poor man thinks he doesn't deserve anything. And if someone gives him something, it's a gift. That's how an ani approaches what he receives in this world. Matana, matnat chinam. Anything which someone gives me and I think I deserve is more of a business deal than anything else. If I sell you herring and you give me $1, Tiffy, herring. My Tiferet, my 8-year-old loves herring. Which is a chiddush. If I sell you herring and you give me $1, you owe me $1 because I deserve the $1. When you bring me something and I feel it's a gift, that moment becomes special, and I too become special. That moment of feeling undeserving of something, so that moment, because not just that the transaction feels, but like, honestly, how I feel kimat all the time when we have the privilege to learn in the community, and someone comes to a shir, it's already special, even if I do a lousy job, because I feel like it's a matnat chinam that I get to learn with someone in Eretz Yisrael, mamash. Or if someone sends in a text after it becomes special. Why? Because does anyone owe anything to anybody over here? We don't owe anything. It's beautiful, but that's what makes the learning together special. So don't worry, we're not going to start charging, right? Because then it becomes a business deal, right? So he continues, Reb Shlomo Carlebach continues here, and he asks, who are the real special people of the world? And think about this in your own life right now, okay? The following sentence, and see how much you can make this shayach to mamash, your life, who are the real special people of the world? People who don't walk around thinking they're special. Special people are those who walk around thinking, if I am a little bit special, it's a gift because you made me special. To love somebody means to make them special, but to make them special on the level of a gift. A poor man doesn't know of business deals, he only knows of gifts. So can you see that in your, is that muvan? Do we understand what he's saying over here? Can you see that in your own life with someone who you feel perhaps is special to you? Yeah? Not so much? Yeah. you feel like that?
No, there are those people who have the spotlight ready to shine on them, and they just work so hard to avoid it.
Right.
It makes them much more special.
But what causes them to avoid, that covet?
It's not about them.
Because to them, it's, even if I have anything in life, it's a gift. Not because of, I always say, you ever see the people that prepare speeches when they're honored somewhere, and first they talk about for 10 minutes how they're not ra'ui, but then they pull out a Megillah from their pocket that they prepared to talk about how they were ra'ui for the gift, right? Real special people, it's that they'll stand up and say, whatever I'm receiving, it's just a matana. I can't, and who do we learn this from the most? People feeling deserving versus people feeling non-deserving. If there's anyone that probably felt deserving, it's Moshe Rabbeinu. It could have been Moshe Rabbeinu to come into Eretz Yisrael, and yet when he uses the language va'etchanan el Hashem ba'et ha'il Emor, when he begs Hashem to come into Eretz Yisrael, Chazal teach us he used the word va'etchanan from the Lashon matnas chinam, that he was begging Hashem matanat chinam. He was begging Hashem, I know I don't deserve this, but I'm not asking you based on my merits to give me this. I'm asking you as an undeserved gift. That's how I'm asking you. That's how we learn how to talk to Hashem. So everybody knows that Yaakov Avinu loved Rachel very much. What was their relationship all about? They constantly made their moments together special. They made each other feel so special. Now the truth is, you can even read that. You can see what he's saying. Whenever you read about their meeting together by the well, Rachel and Yaakov, it's almost like you don't need any illustration. You just read the pshat of the way the Torah describes them meeting each other. And they made that moment special. Obviously, if you start crying on each other, that becomes a special moment. But we know that if any of the relationships in the Torah were like, if we had to choose one of them to be like, wow, there was something really, really special there, based on what we can, a little bit of what we know from what the Torah writes, it's probably Yaakov and Rachel, right? Working for them, working for her for 7 years, then being tricked, then another 7 years, and then after finally he finishes 14 years of working by the father-in-law, and he gets her. So what does the Torah say about how he felt about those 14 years? V'hayu be'einav keyamim achadim be'ahavato ota. That in his eyes, it felt like just a few days. Why? Because when you're gathering special moments of special, more and more and more, it doesn't feel like, oh my God, when is this going to happen? Oy vey, it's taking so long. Every moment that he was working towards being with his love, every moment became special. So the waiting process, the in-between, the process that he had to wait from setting his eyes on her, I don't even use that lashon, setting his eyes on her. The moment he saw her, till they were privileged to be together, 14 years was filled with moments of being special. That was what their relationship was all about. And he continues. When Yaakov made Yosef the Ketonet Pasim, the multicolored dream coat, he let him know he's special. He's so special. It was absolutely on the level of a gift. So therefore, at the end of Pesach, Yosef Tzaddik is the one who is splitting the Red Sea to teach us that all the specialness we felt from the first night of Pesach is on the level of a gift. What is he referring to? How is it that Yosef splits the sea?
His bones.
Hayam Ra'ah Vayanos. The sea saw and it split. It fled. What did it see? It saw Yosef's bones. Where else do we have that lashon of Vayanos? It says by Yosef Atzadik, Vayanos v'yetzeh achutza, with Potiphar's wife. It's the same lashon. He also fled. He split. It's interesting. You say, boy, I split. Now, split usually means split. But when you check out of somewhere, it's like, I got to split, right? But it's interesting how that language is the same thing over here. The sea split for the person that split, right? How? Because Reb Shlomo once said, when he looked at Potiphar's wife, one of the ways he was able to get out of that matzav is he was saying, you have no idea who I am. I come from something so special. My parents cried for me to be in this world. My mother was bare. My mother couldn't bring children into the world. My mother Rivka. Do you know how many moments of special it took between my parents and Hashem Bayat? All the davening that in Parashat Toldot it tells us. And Reb Shlomo says he looked and he saw, what does it mean he saw an image of his father? He said he basically saw Yosef Atzadik, about his grandparents, right? Everything we said right now is about his grandparents, and then about his father, what he had to do in order to finally be with Rachel. It's a building of special moments. So the sea splits on the 7th day, in the Zchut of Yosef Atzadik, to remind you that everything you just experienced this Pesach and the Yetziat Mitzrayim, we know it was just a gift from heaven. Did we do anything to receive that gift of Yetziat Mitzrayim? We know. We know we were tanking on the levels of impurity. And Hashem it was an Isarusa de La'ela, an awakening from above, and we were saved. But that Reb Shlomo is building this up to explain to us, that's what matzah is, lechem oni, the bread of poverty. That's a bread of mishu shuani, someone who's poor. A poor man feels that everything is a gift. When a poor man puts his hand out, if you reach a place in life where you're putting your hand out begging for money, there's no way in the world that you feel like you're deserving of it. And then you have people that feel like it's a gift to share their talents, and if you want to support them, give out. Like I had that experience today, a few hours ago. I was sitting on Rehov Yafa with a friend at this cafe on Rehov Amarish, by the Open Shuk area, at this place called Chiba, I think. And this woman walked by, and she heard us talking in English, and she came back very, like a smiley, like, if you didn't know any better, she was like, from the witnesses, they're trying to sell you something. I don't want to say the first word, right? So I didn't know, I was like, what are you trying to do? Because she pulls out these books from her bag. I'm like, oh no, you shleim, please, no. Don't sell, don't give me any pamphlets of, the other chaver and the money. And she pulled out, I have it here, Tiffy, I have a new book I brought home. This woman wrote this beautiful children's book about apple trees or something. And she was so excited to share. She says, hi, I'm a traveling salesman. Would you want to buy a book? And I saw the way she said it, she felt that even if she'd received the money from me, which she did a few minutes later, she'd feel like it's an undeserved gift. Meaning there's a way to look at even business transactions as undeserved gifts. Yeah, I did service for you. I did. But even the fact that you're paying me, that's still an undeserved gift. That feeling is special. That transaction becomes a special transaction. Yosef Atzadik, again, is the one who is splitting the Red Sea to teach us that all the specialness we felt from the first night of Pesach is on the level of a gift. We say, Kashim zivugim ki kriyat yam suf. To find your soulmate is on the level of splitting of the Red Sea. Meaning, now, how do we understand that? Because anyone that thinks they're deserving of their soulmate, they're in a bad situation. Anyone that's really, really tasted a zivug always feels that it's an undeserved gift. It's a matnat chinam. But once you feel it's deserving, then the relationship is just an accumulation of business transactions. You do this, therefore I do this. Because you got to do that, then I should be doing that. That's why he's bringing over here saying, Kashim zivugin kikriyat yamsuf. Yeah, splitting the sea. That's what the sea did as a response to Yosef Atzadik. That's as hard as mamash viewing your marriage and your soulmate as an undeserved gift. Let's continue. Imagine I'm going to school and my teacher tells me I'm a very special student. It makes me feel very special. But imagine I meet my soulmate and it's also very special. What's the difference? Very simple. My teacher makes me feel special on a level of business. I deserve it because of what I have accomplished, right? A teacher is not going to come to a student that's mamish shvach and say, you know, you're a really special student. Because unfortunately, it's many times, quite often, based on grades. That's Bezrat Hashem, that's like, I feel like that's the last galut we'll get out of one day. I think that's still a galut. That the society we've bought into still has that being a defining, it's wrong, but it still works like this in many places, that based on how well you do on tests, that defines how special you are or not. And Baruch Hashem, though, we're getting better in that because there's teachers that are not buying into that anymore. I think we're getting better in that. What do you think? Hey?
I couldn't find it.
It found you.
She found me.
What's the difference? So again, my teacher makes me feel special on a level of business. I deserve it because of what I have accomplished. I'm a good student and I have a good head. My soulmate is on the level of a gift. So he continues now and he explains something that I think each of us have, but we need a little bit of an intro for this. You know how people today are constantly talking about that no matter where they're at in life, the child within them is not just still living within them, but usually the child within them is conducting the show. Like we think we're running the show, but the child that's still in us is really, quite often, he's running the show. And he's telling the adult, the boger, how he should feel and what to do. Even though we think it's the other way around because we are a certain age, really the child is mamash, the menatzach. He's conducting everything. So here he's going to address something that I think that each of us have a shayachut to. Listen to this. I want you to know the deepest depths. The Gemara says that I have a legal claim on Hashem when it comes to food. That's what the Gemara says. He has to give it to me. You created me. I didn't ask you to create me. Right? That's what the Gemara says. Children, till a certain age, have a legal claim on their parents to feed them. Why? You brought me down to this world. I didn't ask you, so you better feed me. Right? There's no... Legitimately. Babies understand it very deeply. You brought me to this world, you better feed me. And they're 100% right. This is the level of bread. Nachon? Ma shemegia li, megia li. That's bread. What did we say matzah was? Lechem oni. What's lechem oni? Which means, if I receive it, it's not because I deserve it. I receive it, it's a gift.
And the most basic means of sustenance is how they're referring to bread?
Yeah. I think, it seems like it. Now the Zohar HaKadosh says that a baby does not know whom their father or mother are until it eats bread. That's what the Zohar says. Did anyone ever hear this before? We learned it once, yeah. We learned it about 3 or 4 years ago, a whole teaching on this, that really only once the baby eats bread, it has a da'at of who its legitimate, responsible people are on them, right? Pretty far out. This means that bread gives strength to my mind to be connected to those who love me. Only after I eat bread do I know what life is all about. I know who my father and mother are. Matzah, this is, please, focus as much as you can because this is hard, but it is so mind-bogglingly deep, it's worth it. Okay, matzah gives my mind strength as too. But it gives me strength to not only realize who loves me, but that those who love me is a gift from heaven and not just a legitimate claim. Does anyone want to take a stab at that one? Let's talk about 2 different things here. I wish I had I've never said this before in my life, but I wish I had a chalkboard. Or they don't use chalkboards today. What are they?
Whiteboards.
Whiteboards, smart boards.
Oh, yeah.
What do you use?
A whiteboard. With
A whiteboard.
reasonable whiteboard.
Right.
Yeah.
Tiferet, does your teacher use gir?
No.
Huh? No. Zelda, what do you use?
Whiteboards.
Everyone's using whiteboards? Yeah. Right. But imagine this, okay? Imagine two things on the board right now. Matzah and lechem. Sorry, we're not done with Pesach. We're still trying to figure this out. Matzah is lechem oni. Bread, for right now, let's call it lechem ashir. I don't know. Chala ashira. Lechem ashir. What does a poor man feel about what he receives? That it's a gift. What does someone who eats bread feel that he has? What he deserves. Okay? When you eat this bread, that which you feel like you deserve, according to the Zohar, what da'at does it give you? It gives you da'at of who your parents are. And what claim do you have on your parents? What kind of level of claim?
To feed you.
What you deserve. Nachon? I deserve to be fed. Right? Matzah gives you da'at as well when you eat it. But what's the da'at that matzah gives you? That even that which I think megiali is also a gift. How's that?
It's bringing an image to me of like my mother giving me a sandwich, or my father at the Seder table giving me the matzah.
Uh-huh.
And it's a whole, like the sandwiches, it's regular.
You know, I have to say, like as you're saying this, I'm thinking, and Marilyn, I'm thinking about your Abba. Why? Because every time I've spoken to him about life after 1945, I never ever got the sense from him that he feels an entitlement, megiali attitude. It's almost like everything that he built and that he's gotten and Hashem has given him, and now Baruch Hashem, children, grandchildren getting married, great grandchildren going to the world. It's viewed as lechem oni. This is a gift, not lumegiali, when they have the most legitimate claim to say megiali, 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 megiali. Mamash. It's an unbelievable thing. So before you were in that, we said that we learned that midah, that when you really have every legitimate claim to feel like megiali, but you don't even feel like that for real, that means you're a Talmid of Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? Because when Moshe Rabbeinu, who had more of a legitimate claim to demand entry into Eretz Yisrael than Moshe Rabbeinu? And yet when Moshe Rabbeinu asked to come into Eretz Yisrael, he uses the word va'etchanan, which we learn to mean matnat chinam. I'm asking you to come in on the level of a matnat chinam. So we see, like mamash, the deeper you are, the less you feel under the craziest circumstances megiali. But you know what? You know what the hardest thing in the world is? To actually feel what we just described. To really, really feel that what I have in life, despite how hard I worked on things, or despite how much I feel like I've been wronged by Shemayim, and each of us have that place inside of us. Like we have that, guilty feeling. I should be feeling like everything's a gift, but inside, we walk around with tainas, Hashem. A lot of parents. I gave my children 12 years of religious chinuch. How could you do this to me? Turn out, it's like the Dati Leumi mother parents are like, the Zionist parents. I gave my kids 12 years of Bnei Akiva Tzioni chinuch, and how could you make them Haredi? Or the Haredi parents are saying like, I gave my kids 12 years of yeshivish, and how could you make them run to Eretz Yisrael and jump on it? Now, everyone has a taina on what they think they deserve. Everywhere. It's always like this. The ultimate is learning how to view even that which you have every legitimate claim to feel shemegialecha, that even that is a matana. That even that is a gift. Because that reality, living in that kind of life, you know what happens to everything you have? To every interaction? To every meeting with something? What becomes with those meetings? They become special. Like we began this teaching. Special. When you remove from the equation, megiali, I deserve something, and then you experience life, those moments become special. And that's where he's taking us to. So let's turn the page. But I just want to make sure that what we did with the matzah and the right, the da'at I received from lechem according to the Zohar is on those who I have a legitimate claim on. The da'at I received from matzah, the lechem oni, is that even those that I have a legitimate claim on, that's also a gift. Like in the heart of hearts, every child, when they connect to the shoresh neshama of their parents, after all the rebellions and wondering, how come you didn't do this for me, or you did do this for me, or why'd you provide me with this and not with this, or why'd you send... And the root of it all, if you'd be mufshat me'ah, if you'd be completely removed from the outside and you were just operating on a soul level, and a malach would come and say, so tell me, what do you feel? You feel like, what does it feel like to be a child of your parents? So each of us would say, mamish matnas chinam. Mamash, an undeserved gift. Undeserved. Can you imagine children feeling like that about their parents? That being their children is an undeserved gift. Do you know what happens to the parent? A parent that hears that their child feels that being raised by them and being born to them is a matnat chinam. Do you know what happens to that relationship? Gewalt, is that special? There's nothing more special than that. But how often do we find this kind of mutual feelings between the two? That parents feeling like hopefully every parent feels like their child is a matnat chinam. Whatever parent looks at their child and says, no, I worked hard enough and dominant enough to have you, oy va'avoy lahem. Hashem yirachem. The children should never hear such things from parents. But parents that feel that their children are mamash matnat chinam, and children that feel like being born to their parents is a matnat chinam, it's Mashiach. V'heshiv lev avot al banim v'lev banim al avotam. Boom, right there. That's special. That's oneness. That's an achdut. It's an ichud of you. You can't even, don't even have words to describe how precious such a relationship is. Okay. You already know how I feel about my parents. I'm not going to go into a whole mushy thing about huh? Oh, probably. Yeah. So, on Pesach, a very fast shift took place in the way which I understand my life. Reb Shlomo says it clearer than anything, right? On Pesach, a very fast shift took place in the way which I understand my life, but not for too long. For one night, life truly felt like a gift. Life felt like a matnat chinam. And here I want you to open your hearts in the deepest depths. When you love somebody very much, and everything feels so high, it's possible that the next day you wake up and it's an ordinary day like any other day. So what does it say about what you were feeling yesterday? Right? Brother Suffolk comes in and starts to question, right? That which you were so flying, was that real? Was that real? You might start feeling like you're crazy. But here one must remember what Pesach was all about. The absolute greatest light was shining in the world on Seder night. But before we go further, I just want to define Pesach for us right now, even though we're already after Pesach. But everything is Zechel Yetziat Mitzrayim. So let's just explain based on this. What was so gewalt about Pesach? Don't tell me we became freed. What does that even mean? What was so beautiful about Pesach is that for one night, life felt like a gift. That is the revelation of Pesach. That's the revelation of becoming free. A free person is free to feel that life itself is a gift. That's the shift that took place Pesach night that he's referring to over here. So that's why Reb Shlomo says here, one must remember what Pesach was all about. The absolute greatest light was shining in the world on Seder night. But one day later, we had to start all over again. And the question is, why? Why did Hashem, so to speak, take away this feeling of special? Right? Why in the world was it contracted again? If it's, what a divine thing to feel. That life is a gift and Hashem, you're taking it away from us afterwards? Now, before you tell me, Well, because you have to learn these things on your own. What else does your neshama tell you? What does your soul tell you? Why do you think Hashem took this away?
You could long for it.
So you could long for it. What else? Why did Hashem take this revelation away after Pesach? That's good. Ma'od, what do you think?
Maybe too heavy to carry all the time.
That's for sure. That's for sure. You could lose your mind from living like this all the time.
If you have it all the time, you lose the value of it.
That's also mamash chazak. It stops being special. That's very good. That's why I wonder, like Hashem's plan for Yom Shekulo Shabbos. What's Shabbos going to be like when Monday is Shabbos? You know, whatever. I trust him.
He'll figure it out.
He'll figure it out. Just like everything else, he'll figure that one out. Right? But that's mamash the, that's the great faith. Chas v'shalom. God forbid. Well, we don't even know what that means, right? You can't fathom what it means.
All those stuff that we need now.
Nachon. Which means that based on this, what would that look like? What kind of mitzvahs is that? What kind of reality is that? It's hard for us to even, it's amazing.
Do you know how often we say that was like the highest thing I ever experienced? And then something else comes up and that was like the highest thing I ever experienced.
Did you ever have more than one kid? Meaning, I remember between our first and second, so I remember wondering how on earth, I was nervous actually. I was nervous. Did anyone else experience it? I was nervous as to wait a second. That was Gan Eden. What's that?
Nehemiah's wife said that. She says, אני אוהבת את הבת שלי כל כך הרבה, איך זה יהיה? אם יהיה לי עוד אחד.
Right, like the whole experience, and yes, our Bechorah is up now, so I could say, you coming into the world, Tiffy, was different than any of them, because you made Mami and Abba into parents. Your sisters didn't make us into parents. You made us into parents, right? But it was amazing, what the Seorah is going to be born, and suddenly Hashem, in only Hashem's ways, He creates it, that your heart becomes so much bigger than you thought it could be. So much bigger. Mamash. But it was a real, I bless you guys, Be'ez Hashem, to experience this, Mamash, in the right time.
Or it makes people into a sister.
That's true. That's true. Or it made you into a sister. That's very good. So again, the question is, why did Hashem, so to speak, take away this feeling of special? So look what he says. This is in, what do you call this? Italics. Everybody wants to be high every moment, but this is not the secret of life. The secret of life is how high are you when you're not so high. Anyone want to give a Rashi to this? Or a Ramban, or an Ibn Ezra, or a Chaim, Kliyakar, any Perush over here. Who wants to explain this sentence? Leah Golem used to quote the Reb Shlomo saying a little bit differently. The question is not how much do I love you when I love you, it's how much do I love you when I hate you. It's the same thing, it's the same parallel. What does it mean? The secret of life is how high are you when you're not so high?
In regular life, when you don't have miraculous things happening to you in front of your face, how special how much can you appreciate what you do have, and how much can you see what is a gift in just regular life without the miracles?
Wow, that's, I think, perfect. That's mamash it. Because listen, we always say, when Hashem doesn't need to make a miracle, He'd rather not. Why? Because to make a miracle and everyone's starting to believe in Hashem, it's gewalt, but it's kind of sad for Hashem. It's kind of sad for God. Why? That's what's going to take them for them to believe in Him. So what's the big thrill there? The shaila is, how high are you when nothing crazy happens, but when you realize that moments that of simplicity are gifts. In our tarbut, what happens? Chalila. Someone gets sick, everyone starts realizing, I better go to the doctor, I have to take care of myself. And then when they get healed, oh, thank God, right? But did you ever wake up in the morning and everything's fine? And you're like, oh my God, everything is fine. Do you know how we learned it this week? I'll tell you how I learned this Torah this week. This past Shabbos, I told the women shir on Sunday, we spent this past Shabbos with someone who people are now thinking of having her run to become the president of Israel. I wanted to become the chief rabbi of Israel. Sounds crazy, right? Miriam Peretz. Have you heard of Miriam Peretz? Did you see the video that she sent out?
Yeah.
Of a woman that won the Pras Yisrael. Have you watched it yet?
I watched the
there.
first
It
half.
was unbelievable.
You were there.
They cut out on me driving on fishermen.
It is a chiyuv, an obligation. You all have homework. This is out of this world. Miriam Peretz, a woman who lost her first son. Then her husband dies a few years later from heartbreak over the first son. He was killed in Lebanon. Then the second son gets killed in Gaza a few years later. And she gave the speech of all speeches, which they are now, Misrad HaChinuch, is trying to incorporate into the curriculum. So Bezrat Hashem, our children will learn. I'll send out the link, whoever wants to watch the speech with the English subtitles. Mesmerizing. Mesmerizing. Any chaver that's they're learning with us online, please, besimcha, I would love for every person in the world to watch it. Zelda, did you see it?
No.
It's unbelievable. You know who she is, obviously, right? Miriam Peretz? You've heard of her?
I've heard of her.
Yeah, she is. So anyway, we did this. We were, my wife and I, we were in Tel Aviv this last Shabbos, and we were at a weekend for Mizrahi Olami, World Mizrahi movement. They were doing. There was a mission for the 70th birthday. So they stayed in Tel Aviv, a few blocks away from where David Ben Gurion proclaimed the Medina. Right? So they had a whole week there. Anyway, she was the guest to speak. She was the guest for Shabbos. The day before, she won the Israel Prize. So she's there for Shabbos. I met her before, and she's not like, oh my God, I can't. Being in her presence is so intimidating. It's not. She's the most zis. It's hard to explain, like that feeling of being with her. But your heart breaks 5 million times a second when you're in her presence. She buried 2 sons. Lo aleinu Hashem yirachem. And her husband in the middle. Crazy. She spoke at Shalosh Shudas. I didn't really tell the woman what she spoke about. She kind of gave over a little bit of her speech in English, but she spoke about, she realized after what she had gone through that she needs to feel close to Hashem no matter what. And that need and ratzon to feel close to Hashem has led her to realize, she said, the fact that I'm talking to you right now is a miracle. And then she pointed out a million different things that you'd never feel as special. And she's finding every moment of her life as being special. Now let me ask you, is there anyone else that you could think of on her level, talking about legitimate claims to God? What has she done with it? It's hard to understand, Bichlal. It's very hard to even understand. And she said, I know, it's hard for me to understand me. She's not like this woman that you're looking at her and you're like, oh, she's going to crash one day. She's not. She's very aware of the crazy circumstances of her life. But she's jumping out to me right now because she's on this life mission that's led her to realize that every moment and every experience and every interaction, but mainly the fact that she's part of Am Yisrael, living in Eretz Yisrael, is probably greater for her than the sea splitting in front of her. Mamash. Mamash. That's unbelievable. We need Rebbes that talk like that. We need Rabbanut Reshit that speaks like that. That's what we need. Not those that are fighting other hechshes. We need the chief. Remember Reb Shlomo said if I was the chief rabbi, I would institute this inyan that I would say that each person that passes by someone on the street and doesn't say hello to them gets like a ticket of 100 shekel. You get a ticket. That's what he said, right? Mamash. We laugh because we're so far-fetched from anything that has anything relevance to the way we live our lives and conduct our lives. But, however, do we really think that rabbinic leadership is not for these things? Of course it's for these things. To make us realize that we are alive with rabbis and rabbaniyot and teachers and talmidei chachamim and chayalim. It is so special. I felt like Yom Ha'atzmaut hit me this year very strong. The specialness. Maybe it was the 70 years. I don't know what it was. Yom HaZikaron came on harder this year than any year, and Yom Ha'atzmaut came on harder this year than any year, and I don't know why, but anyone who I've spoken to, mamash, shared the same feelings. Something is in the air. Something's in the air. Something of just like, Yala, im kol hashtuyot sheyesh lanu. Here, what a special thing it is to be alive right now. What a special thing it is to be part of Am Yisrael. Why? Did something happen to you? No. I'm part of Am Yisrael. Just that alone. I'm part of Am Yisrael. It's kind of the Sefira of tonight. Tiferet Shebenetzach. The beauty of always. I'm part of this. It's always. And malasot. I'm in this forever. Okay. You know what real love is? When you love somebody, don't stop loving them even when you hate them. Meaning, sometimes it's really a heavy trip being a Yid, being a Jew. It's not so fun sometimes. Don't ever stop being in awe of the fact that you're a Jew, even when it's so hard to be a Jew. Oh, he says it. Don't stop being a Yidla, even if, God forbid, you don't want to be a Yidla anymore. Don't stop believing in God ever, even if for one moment you don't believe in Him. You see a problem with that last sentence? Read it again and tell me what the problem is.
If you don't believe in Him, how can you stop believing in Him?
Don't stop believing in God ever, even if for one moment you don't believe in Him.
It makes sense.
Even in that moment.
It really makes
Nachon.
sense.
It makes sense.
Because inside, people outside their words don't believe, but inside they do believe.
Nachon. Nachon.
Hello.
Oh, shoot. Oh, sorry.
Was it?
Ginsburg.
Oh. Okay. Don't stop believing in God ever, even if for one moment you don't believe in them. What is that? Sometimes you can be freaked out at yourself. I'm like, God, I felt like that. Sometimes you have a feeling like, oh my God, I don't love that person. Yeah, in that moment you didn't love that person. But don't ever stop loving them. My God, I didn't believe in Hashem for a few minutes last week. Reb Shlomo says, yeah, we know that. But don't stop ever believing in Hashem. Meaning, just because you felt something, that does not mean that that's, sipur nigma.
Doubts, if you have any doubts, and maybe people do through their life have some doubts, capture those moments and don't linger.
Right. Even if that happened. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it happened. Yeah, you had it. Don't stop. It was a suffix. Not that any of us have ever had any doubts, right? We've always been, everything's doubts, please. So now let's go back. Now we're gonna just end this up. We're gonna tie this all together, B'ezrat Hashem. Look what he says. After Pesach, I count my days in order to see that every day, every ordinary day, is also a gift from heaven. That's basically, he's saying, that's what's happening to me during Sefira. Like, what's happening to me? I'm counting my days. Why am I counting? I usually count something that's special. Unechshav, it's counted. Yeah, you're counting every moment. That's how we get what we had on Pesach night on our own. That's what sefirat omer does. You understand? When you have a moment in life of feeling special and feeling that life itself is a gift, your world begins to be filled with special moments. The day after a very high and precious moment, I walk on the street and I see something so little, so insignificant. Suddenly it also looks like a gift to me. Do you know what we began to experience when we counted the omer? We walked out to the field, took a little grass, and realized it's so special, right? What's the korban of the omer? What is the korban of the omer? What is it? It's barley. Bakeva, barley. Suddenly barley became so incredible to us too. Not just behemot that are like big, even barley. Like that's the whole point. It's not even food for a human being. It's just food for a little sheep. But let me ask you, does anything happen to you when you look at the world and realize that God is feeding the animals? Does it make you shiver when you realize how God is taking care of the world? What a line. Like, did it ever do anything to you that the way that, my wife's you're a nature girl, Moshav girl's probably more intuitive with this stuff, but like, did it ever do anything to you that the way that nature naturally blossoms is that it's basically vegetation is really just continuing breeds to not go, not become, what's it called? Instinct? Isn't that crazy? What did you do for that? Do you shiver before that reality? This was the growth which took place after Pesach till Shavuot. After Pesach, I began to realize how God is taking care of all the animals of the world. And by Shavuot, I know how God is taking care of every human being. And then, you're ready to receive the Torah. This is one of the strongest pieces we've ever seen, Mamash. Because it brings a sefirat, omer, in such a real, deep, passionate way to show us that be'emet, this is what Hashem did, took away, you get it back. You want to show up to Har Sinai with this kind of consciousness. You know why? Because then when you receive the Torah, it doesn't stop feeling special after a few days. Then the Torah itself remains special to you every day. And every morning, when you walk by your Sfarim, you don't feel guilty. I didn't open up that. I didn't open up that. Instead of that sitting on you like, oh my God, how much am I not learning? Wow, today I could open up a Sefer. Today I know who's this? I don't know, take a Sefer here. Today I know there's a Sefer called Derech HaMelech, meaning instead of, I should be doing, no, every moment is special. Every opportunity is special. We want to receive the Torah and for the Torah to remain to be something that's special to us. Not something that becomes another thing that I have to do like Eitz Hadas, Tovara. And that's the preparation we have. That's Parshat Emor. And I wouldn't try giving this over as a vort at the Shabbos table because it's not so, cash Torah-ish. But it's kedai to take this home, and B'ezrat Hashem, I'm going to be posting all the text online as well. And we haven't learned the text like this from Reb Shlomo, and I don't remember the last time we learned just like this, but it's always very, very special. It's a special thing. It's a matnat chinam. It's a matnat chinam to learn this Torah with you here in Eretz Yisrael and with people that are with us in Australia and New York and wherever else they are right now as well. The world is special. It's becoming more and more special, and that is what Sefirat Omer is all about. Shekoyach, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.